Hello, everybody, and welcome to Beyond the Visor. We are back for a second season of this series. You had four episodes in the first series, and we had a little bit of a break. Just wanted to test the waters, but it seems we got a great response from the first series. So we're hitting it back this week with the second series, and I'm joined by a huge guest this week for the very first episode of season number 2. He is a former AOR driver. He is an F1 esports driver. Any guesses? No, well, it is Salih Saltunc joining me this evening for Beyond the Visor, the first episode, second season. How are you doing tonight, man?
Yeah, how you going? All good, man. And yeah,
Good.
just a pleasure to take part.
Fantastic. For those who haven't watched the series before, we sit down with people in the F1 community and just have just a chat and understand who they are and some stuff sometimes we don't see on social media. So, I guess first of all, we know you for your well, I personally know you a lot for your league race. I mean, where did it all start for yourself?
In F1 2012, in 2013 it was, where I did a few races on the pad and got a good understanding of what it all is. But obviously it wasn't too big back then, so didn't really focus too much. But mainly it kicked off in 2016 when F1 2016 came out, and me and Sonoj decided to buy buy wheels and yeah, try and take part in AOR. And the year before that, me and Solange created our own league called STS, of course.
Hmm.
And yeah, we took part on that on the pad, and then for F1 2016 we decided to get our own wheels and give it a go. And yeah, actually it was a really crucial decision, it turned out. And then from there on, it just kicked off with AOR, just yeah, doing all the seasons in AOR, and then esports kicking off as well. So I think it was just really good timing.
Yeah, I mean, you say, I mean, I remember you coming onto the scene in AOR out of nowhere. You popped in, back-to-back championships in AOR. I mean, do you was there sort of an inspiration behind doing league racing, or was it just a bit of fun originally, or is there something that motivated you to do it in the first place?
I mean, I've always liked being competitive in whatever I do, and racing has always been the biggest part of my life. Where me and Sonich and my dad used to sim race since we were like really young,
Hmm.
where we'd race on the Grand Prix free game on the computer, and yeah, we used to have like own championships race against each other. And obviously our PC then got too old for the modern days, so eventually once we got into like the F1 games of Codemasters, we again start racing against each other, split screen and that. But like eventually, I think it was a TR Limitless video we popped across on YouTube, and from there on, we actually found out what AOR is and what league racing is all about. So from there on, yeah, we just wanted to get involved with AOR straight away, knowing it's the biggest league going, and see how we're doing it. And then yeah, from there on, it really turned out to be really good, really fun.
Yeah, I mean, you come leaps and bounds from there. Competing in both esports in 2017 and 2018. I mean, it's between you and your brother. It's such a strange dynamic, not in a good way, because there are no other brotherly teams in esports that I know of. I mean, you do see, the Brownlee brothers who do the triathlons, and there was a couple other groups. But how does it feel to be at the top level and your brother's right by your side the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, until you really said it, now it didn't really hit me. But like knowing that we're two of potentially the 20 best in the world is honestly pretty amazing, because you have so many people in the world, so many people playing this game, so many people who want to be the best. So be well, two of the 20 at least is crazy. And yeah, I mean, being together just makes us stronger as well. We always pushed each other ever since the young days and even now. So I guess it's positive, let's say, because yeah, we can just work together and like get on with it very much.
I can imagine it's so encouraging with having your brother sort of next to you. I mean, we saw the emotion between yourselves in 2017 and 2018, pro drafts. I mean, um, your brother was in tears after you got announced right at the end for Sauber. I mean, it must be such a good feeling for you both. I can imagine it's so motivating, pushing each other all the time because you're both so good at esports.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if I told this story before to anyone, but I know I told Sonich last year, especially when he won the two races in the semi-finals,
Hmm.
and my race was the last race, and going into when I had wing damage on lap one, it was obviously like really like heartbreaking because I kind of knew there's a chance that I might not actually make
Hmm.
it. And if you ask people from like AOL, Twitter, they'll say like they would have expected me to go through. So on lap one, I was carrying that with me. I got completely like distraught, and yeah, it was a really bad feeling. But I came into the pits and had what 35 seconds to rethink everything. And one of the crucial things that I went through my head was thinking Sonnet's going to Abu Dhabi, and I'm probably going back to Preston. So yeah, thinking that like that alone triggered me to just get on with it, don't give up, and that pushed me really to get that final like spot to Abu Dhabi. From there on, that I think making it to Abu Dhabi really helped to, especially help with for next year as well. So yeah, I think like you said, like having brotherly relationship spot is really strong for both of us, and yeah, that's one of the stories I can tell that really helped me get through.
Yeah, I remember watching because I had to. I remember because your brother invited myself and Rickson to watch the 2017 event. I was gutted because I had to get back on the train back to Portsmouth. I missed that, but I remember watching the stream back, and you can hear your brother in the background of the audience screaming away as you came towards the line. It was brilliant. It shows how, like you said, how close you are together and how emotional and how much of a connection you both have. And I mean, in 2017 with the esports, the final event, I mean, a lot of people expected so much from yourself and your brother, and it just didn't go your way. I mean, you had quite a few problems with your rig and in other circumstances as well. I mean, how difficult was it to deal with that? Because I mean, a lot of the guys in the F1 community were really rooting for your brother and yourself at the 2017 final.
Yeah, man, I could only tell you how painful it was. For some like outside the scenes, they'll think, oh yeah, maybe it's stupid, it's getting this like worked up about it. But like when you've raced your whole life and you put your time, put your life into it, you expect so much from yourself. And for me, this was like it wasn't a job, it was a hobby,
Mm.
and I love nothing in life I love more than winning. To not be able to do it, and honestly like not being able to have a chance to do it, that was the most heartbreaking part because I actually knew I had the pace and it was evident, but each time something went wrong with the technical issues. So
Mm.
yeah, walking away from that and knowing I can't actually show anything for the next 6-7 months until like the pro drafts or pro series was pretty like yeah heartbreaking. And like I had to carry that pain for like almost a year, just going through my head and thinking about it every time. And eventually it kind of fades away, but until you really start, you go back on track for the next one, it stays with you. And yeah, like as soon as event 1 and 2 happened this year in pro series, it was all forgotten, but until then it was just yeah really tough to take. And yeah, it was hard to handle, but once you actually do it and prove yourself, then it's all gone, you forget about.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember watching that, and I was absolutely gutted for you. I mean, from what I gather, you had quite a few technical issues with the rig, and some bits with Codemasters that didn't go your way. And I mean, luck swings and roundabouts, and it definitely came back your way in the 2018 series. I mean, you signed for Sauber with your brother and Matiz, and then finishing third in the constructors, getting a win in Germany. I mean, it's such a turnaround from the first from the 2017 event.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's still not quite where I want to be,
Hmm.
but I'm getting there, and I'm happy with the progress. Because if you guys probably know, for like event 1, we started once again, but
Mm.
event 2 and 3, our team made sure everything worked well. I'm super happy that they did because they've always had our backs the whole year, and especially during those times when stuff like it was getting tough, we managed to get back on track and get on with it. Event 2 and 3 went so well, especially event 3. And yeah, it was just nice to bounce back, not just myself, but also Sonic as well. And I know Alec wanted to prove a lot from last season as well. So it's just great as a team that we managed to bounce back and especially get top 3 in the constructors.
Yeah, it was a great performance from all three of you. I mean, like I said, a lot of people were back in Sauber to do well, and I think you guys turned it around at the end. And yeah, we wish you the best of luck for the next time you head out on track with potentially Sauber again. I mean, it must be such a surreal feeling. I mean, you were at Italy just chilling with Charles Leclerc, exchanging phone numbers. I mean, I think your brother tweeted out the when Charles sees you racing a garden chair or something, quite a few weeks ago when you were at the Italian Grand Prix. I mean, is it you still do you still have to pinch yourself when you get these experiences, or is it just norm for you now?
Feel like you've actually gone to where you've always dreamed of where you want to be,
Mm,
and to be there right now, I still feel lucky. Even though I've worked hard for it, I still feel quite lucky to be in this position because it's what I've dreamed of for the past 15, 16 years. So to be there is unreal. But at the same time, obviously, yeah, like I said, you have to like sometimes sit back and look at all of it. Like just even when I go on my phone and check the photos from before, I'm just like, Jesus, did that actually happen? And
mm.
even looking at Leclerc's phone number on my phone, it's just crazy. So yeah, obviously each time it depends how you feeling during the week or whatever. But yeah, like it's nice that esports is getting bigger and giving people chances like this because it all kicks off from young days really when like kids that didn't really have that much money to do go-karting and have a chance to get into Formula One, whereas now esports is giving all that chances to people on equal budget. That's nice, and not just for myself but everyone in esports. I'm pretty sure the really like pumped because like if you look at it, even you have Gasly and in the pro drafts. How mental is that? So
Mm.
yeah, overall it's been amazing and just so grateful for it.
Yeah, it's mad that how much the real life drivers are getting involved. Like you said, Gasly, Leclerc, just changing phone numbers with him must be crazy. Having him in your phone book, and Norris is there as well as Jolyon Palmer on the broadcast. I mean, the gap between esports and real life racing is really closing in now. Do you think the esports drivers over time now will have a um, real job to pay within a real F1 team in the next coming years? Because as simulators get better, I mean, I'm sure um, esports drivers will get more and more involved. Do you think it's a key role going forward in the future of Formula One?
Yeah, 100%. If you look at McLaren Shadow, like WFG, I think it was called, like last year,
Hmm.
how they got Rudy Van Buren on board and he actually did pretty much the simulator work this year. So esports, like you said, simulators getting bigger. There's going to be improvements each year, whether it's the game or the actual equipment used. So I can see the teams in the future actually taking drivers on board to help them with the simulator work and try and make the reality close to the simulator as much as possible.
Yeah, I hope that's the future. I mean, there are still a lot of people with negative views towards esports. I mean, the amount of comments I see seeing like spotty kids just racing on a controller, or the F1 account tweeting and people are negative saying they don't want to see esports stuff on that. What do you mean? What do you say to those sort of people that give out negative comments?
Um, in a way, I kind of understand why some of them will be like that because it's usually the older generation as well. And when they see, I don't know, when they see younger people getting these opportunities, obviously, I don't know if salty is the right word. They wish they were younger so they can be able to do that. But also, some of them see the negatives in it and think that it's not really a job. It's not like actually something worth getting paid for. And well, if you compare it to guys like Doc, they have a point. But at the end of the day, esports is now a thing. In It's a reality. It's actually it's like a sport now. That's why they call it esports. And
Mm,
so just because they think this and that doesn't mean people in esports should stop it. Because at the end of the day, we are doing esports because in the younger days we wanted to be in Formula One, but we couldn't because of the financial budget. So
hmm.
it gives us a brand new chance to show our talent. And why should we stop just because it's saying all that? It's really nothing. I don't think that any sports drivers really look at and think, yeah, we should stop racing now because these guys think this. So yeah, at the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but yeah, because they're saying that, I think in fact I'll probably see it getting even stronger in the future.
Yeah, I hope it goes that way. And I mean, there are quite a few of yourself. You did go karting when you were a child. Graham Carroll, Ken Bullock-Bassey, and I'm sure there's a few others that have done go karting, and from some other reason they can't continue it because of financial or other reasons. And I think it gives a great opportunity to those drivers who have got pure talent to show what they're made of. And I think it's a great series to to run. I mean, I'd love to know behind the scenes when between races, is it really tense in the background behind the stage, or is it like is it really relaxed? How is it? Is it can you cut the atmosphere with a knife, or is everyone just chilled out, or how is it?
At the arena, it's yeah, event one was quite tense how it was when I took point Germany. I took point Germany and things to be all tense, but I came out and saw Brendon, saw Tomala, like these guys were like saying congratulations, and they were like looking forward to a fun race, and it did turn out to be a fun race at the end. And in between qualifying and the races, when obviously we knew the results and how the race was gonna start, it was all just pretty chilled, pretty relaxed, and yeah, I don't think getting tense obviously is a part of esports and it's part of like real life as well.
Mm,
Getting tense before the races, but I think that really it didn't really happen too much in event two and three because I don't know. People, I think the drivers in general. I wish you guys can see how it is in the players' lounge as well because everyone's just having fun. Really, everyone's just joking around. It's you kind of forget you're racing for a team. It's like you're just joking around as if you're like friends at a playground or something. It's like that. So yeah, at times you'll get tense. Obviously, if something happens like a crash between two drivers or
mm,
like the constructors battle, obviously, but even like behind what's it before the last event, before the ninth and 10th race, backstage before like we walked onto the what do you call it? Like when it announces the drivers to walk down the stage, even then, like at the back, everyone's just joking. So yeah, I don't think it gets too tense. Just I think it's the right balance between tense and joking.
okay, that's really interesting. I thought it would be massively tense, but it
In
shows.
in in event one, it was quite tense to be honest.
Yeah.
Like you had like when the Mercedes guys walked in or the Red Bull guys walked in, you'd have some people like looking and like not being scared, but like kind of like appreciating, let's say,
Mm,
like how they are and like looking up to them kind of thing. But I don't know, like after event one, event two and three were just quite relaxed and chilled.
okay, very interesting. I mean, of course we saw Brendon Leigh win his second championship for the F1 Esports. How I mean we all know he's excellent at what he does. I mean, for you and your brother and the Sauber team in general, how are you going to match him going forward? I mean, he's won two championships in a row. I mean, you've won AOR titles. I mean, and it's difficult to compare them both, but how would you get onto his level, and how can you beat him going forward?
Once I finish uni, I'll have more than enough time to be able to compete at the top. I'd say
Hmm.
because right now you can't compete with them because and this is me just saying how it is, not being salty or anything, but I can't physically put in the same time that those guys do. And I'm not saying that's why they're quick because they're both like both Brendan and Danny, and they know what they're doing. They know how to drive, they know how to race, and they work really well together. But when you compare the game time, you have one's doing 500 and us guys are doing 100, 150. Is no competition, and to be able to be as quick as them, you need that time,
Hmm.
and that's why we focus on doing that next year once I have my uni finished because I do want to do that. I'm not saying putting in the time should I mean in real life you see Lewis Hamilton say stuff like you have to put in hard work to be at the top. So yeah, we kind of look at that and we kind of look at that and want to do that as well in the future. And if we can, then I think we have a good chance to actually compete at the top.
So going forward, I mean, you mentioned, once university's finished, you've got time to then practice and then match the amount of time that Brendan and Danny and some of the other drivers do to get onto their level. I mean, of course you're in your last year of your degree. Do you want to follow the esports route and do that as a job, or do you think you want to follow your engineering degree and then go into F1 in that way? Which, or maybe a balance of both. I don't know. That may be too much, but which route you sort of focusing on, and maybe which one do you prefer?
Honestly, I've been asked this question so many times now. I can actually give a natural answer.
Brilliant.
uh, yeah. So for me, the plan has always been the same in the last like half a year or so. It's been, if esports gets big enough where you can actually kind of live off it with the prize money and that, then yeah, 100%. Racing is all I want, is all I need, and that's what makes me get up every day. I love racing, and that's all I want to do. And yeah, engineering obviously is something I really wanted to do because I've been working towards that the last 8 years now. So
Hmm.
being in my final year after 8 years of like really hard work, then yeah, it's gonna be, let's say, tough to like do all these years, but not ended up like actually like picking it. But at
Hmm.
the same time, if I have to do engineering, then I will, because I still enjoy that as well. It's like second nature to me. So yeah, I just know that racing, there's nothing gonna be ever in my life that's gonna be top in racing. So yeah, engineers a second, is a close second, but yeah, racing any day of the week, any day.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we all hope for the best, and I
Yeah.
really do hope
It's literally whatever gets me to F1. I'll do whatever. Like
whatever it
engineering,
takes.
I'm doing it because yeah, I want to be in Formula One.
Mm.
So I want to be the next engineer in engineering. So that's why I'm doing like aerospace engineering, so I can
Hmm.
be in aerodynamics. So yeah, whatever gets me to Formula One. But right now it looks like esports is really the way to go, just because it's racing.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, we all wish you the best of luck, and I'm sure with it sounds that you're very determined, be it in esports or in the engineering field. I mean, I'm sure you'll make it with the drive that you've got. Going back to earlier, you mentioned karting when you were younger, and you're originally from northern Cyprus. I mean, how was it sort of growing up there? I mean, maybe some people don't know that when you were when you were younger. I mean, you'll tell the story far better than I, but your mom left your family. I mean, how was that as growing up as a child in? I mean, it must have been so difficult.
Yeah, my mom didn't even actually until we came back to England. When we were in Cyprus, growing up was I don't know, it was okay. Like me and Solange were already like had the rivalry, of course, when we were like kids. So
Hmm.
even though if there were like bad days at home, like me and him always got along. We always had each other's backs, and then my little brother came as well. So yeah, I think in general in Cyprus we had a happy family, and it was all
Mm.
going great and growing up together as well. Like school's quite different. You start in September, finish like Mayish, whereas here you finish like July.
Hmm.
So we had a really long summer in Cyprus all the time, like 4 months or 5 months of summer. So that was always nice. And we were living like our apartment, our flat was like right in front of like a football pitch. So pretty much at the football pitch, just playing football with our friends. And yeah, no, growing up in Cyprus was pretty fun. And you had the water park as well, which we loved a lot, and
Hmm.
like the beach. And yeah, growing up in Cyprus was brilliant. And yeah, really enjoyed it. But coming to England was really crucial because education-wise, it was day and night pretty much. Because in Cyprus, it's really tough to actually get any opportunities, whereas in England you have a lot of opportunities. And yeah, it was a crucial decision at the end. And yeah, as a family, we all decided to come here because my dad always knew that. Well, ever since we finished, well, ever since I had to pull out of karting, my dad knew like I wouldn't be able to get into Formula One as a driver. So he basically asked me that what I want to do, what I want to be, and I said, well, well, it was back in like 2010 days where Adrian Newey he won with Red Bull as well.
Mm.
He was the only engineer to be able to win with three different teams, and that kind of inspired me to be an aerodynamicist. And again, my dad knew to be able to achieve that, we had to go to England. So it was big pressure on my shoulders moving to England just because of all of that. But as a family, we made that decision, and we were happy with it. And yeah, we came to Cyprus. We came to England, sorry, and first 2 months were pretty good. Like first 3 4 months, my dad had the job, my mum had the job, and everything in the family in general was going quite well. And we had our cousins nearby as well, so that was cool as well. And yeah, and then suddenly, obviously, one day, my mum left, and we had no idea why. She just left a letter behind, like a free. My dad found it and read it, and then yeah, from there on, it was just a different dynamic in the house. And um, obviously, the first few weeks were tough because we were pretty frustrated, sad that they
Mm.
happened. But then after that, like we just got on with it. Really, we always had each other's back, and it actually brought all of us closer together. Like it made the bond between me and my dad closer. It was already strong back then anyway, but like then it got even stronger. And same with Sonich and my little brother. So like I think in a way it's turned out to be a positive because ever since that day we've pretty much just pushed each other to be able to um, achieve, to be able to show that we can do much better without her kind of thing, and we don't really need it kind of thing. So yeah, from there on, it's been yeah quite different, but bringing in a positive.
Yeah, I mean, even with negativity in front of you, to turn it round and to get into the position you are, your brother, your dad, and your other brother as well, it shows great character from your whole family. And sometimes shit things happen, and it's just horrible at times, but you try and work around it, and it sounds like you've done that in, leaps and bounds. It's a great little story of how you've sort of turned that round, and the shows really how determined you are to get places with how positive you are now.
Yeah, definitely, and yeah, obviously, like I said, the first few weeks were tough, but once something happens, you can't really change it. You can't really undo time, and
Hmm.
yeah, just had to really get on with it. And like I said, like the biggest part was us four getting closer together, closer to each other, and always having each other's back. So that's why I'm quite happy with how my family is, and I wouldn't change them for anything. So yeah, overall, quite grateful to have all of them, and pretty happy that we moved forward from there.
Yeah, it's great to see. And we can see it just looking. I know we only see a tiny bit of yourself and your family, but you can physically see that when you guys, on Twitter and sometimes within the F1 broadcast. Your dad flew all the way out to Abu Dhabi last year to get involved, and you were always smiling, which was great to see. Um,
Yeah,
we've got a load of Twitter questions from lots of different people, so I thought I'd start with those. The first one is who do you see in the F1 community as a potential um, one to keep an eye on, be it someone who's younger or someone who's maybe who didn't make it through the draft? Is there anyone that's caught your eye?
yeah, for sure. Cedric comes to my mind first. Cedric Tommy. I think he's an amazing driver and deserves to be picked. I think teams really missed a big opportunity with him, but I have no doubt that he'll be picked next season because that guy is just a machine. And same with Joshua. I think I pronounced that right. Is Veloce surprise?
Hmm.
Um, him himself, like the kid switched like onto a wheel not so long ago, and already is on really rapid pace, and he's showing what he can do. So I think once he's allowed to take part in esports, he'll be there, no doubt. And another guy I know, VSL Simon. I think that guy also switched to wheel recently, and he's on fire. So those three are my top three, I'd say. But there are other drivers coming up that I've not seen or noticed yet. But like I'm pretty sure there are another like at least 5 10 people that we could see in esports in the future, especially in the next 2 years. So yeah, all I can say to them is just keep pushing because none of us were born with special talent or anything. So if we can do it, so can they, and they just need to put dedication into it. They'll be there for sure.
Fantastic. So there's some keep those who are listening. Those are the guys to keep an eye on. So I'm sure they're all on Twitter, so you can follow them there. That was from Jess and Sierra Rosberg. From those, I got a question from Harrison Finch. He says the win in Germany looked easy, was it?
Oh yeah, it was so easy. You can't believe it. No, it wasn't. It was. Yeah, I knew that was coming because that's a classic Mika moment. But no, like it was. Yeah, it was nice to be on pole and nice to actually win. But yeah, the whole race, I wish they could have showed all 17 laps because I had to get out the slipstream.
Hmm.
Like I was pretty much. Yeah, I was pretty much pushing so hard to get out the slipstream, and eventually, when I did, I was able to keep keep the guy that won the whole thing behind outside of the DRS zone. So yeah, Brendon on one lap pressure tires, he was 1.2 seconds behind me after he overtook Tomala, and yeah, the gap pretty much stayed 1.2 the whole time until the last lap. And yeah, so that was the hard part mentally, but to be honest, I enjoy it. Every time that happens in type of battles where you actually have to push and you're on the limit all the time. So yeah, at the end, really fun. But yeah, definitely not so easy.
Yeah, I can imagine it's not easy with Brendon Leigh just right on your gear, well, not far off your gearbox for the majority of the race. What do you think of Tottenham?
Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, go ahead.
Shit.
What do you think of shit?
Tottenham.
Wait, Tottenham. No, we're not gonna do that. No, I don't think many people do like Tottenham.
Who does?
Yeah,
Who
that's a good
actually
point.
does?
Who
I'd like
does
to know.
like Tottenham? I mean, they're just a plastic club. They haven't won anything in years.
I cringe so hard when they say, "Oh, London is like blue," is what they say. I know Chelsea says that. I don't know what Tottenham says. But when they try and
white
say
and
they're bigger
dark
than
blue,
Arsenal,
maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. But even themselves thinking they're bigger than Arsenal is yeah, pretty cringe.
Yeah, they're an eighth of a club that Arsenal are. I'm not even Arsenal. I'm Swansea, so I can't really say much. You know, we've in championships.
I mean, at least you know the truth, right? At least you know the facts.
Yeah.
The Arsenal's bigger, so.
I mean, we beat you a lot of times in the Premier League actually. So I mean, we're technically better than Arsenal. So I mean,
you are like a bogey team to us. You're like Stoke as well. We always lose to you and Stoke.
yeah, I know. I mean, well, yeah, but everyone hates Stoke. Nobody likes Stoke.
Yeah,
Just...
especially on a cold Tuesday night.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
This is gonna be an unpopular opinion, but yes, for me it does. I don't know. For me, I just enjoy it. I don't know if people that hate it haven't tried it, but for me, it's actually quite nice. I think I don't put it on every single pizza I eat because obviously you need different kind of type. Like for example, if there's a lot of meat on my pizza, then no, pineapple doesn't belong there. But if it's something with good balance, then yeah, I think pineapple actually adds a decent taste to it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. It's an unpopular opinion, but it does. It does.
I mean, I guess when people think of pineapple on pizza, it literally rather than actually like trying out different things. Because you have pizza with just pineapple and cheese, then it just tastes a bit weird. But if you have like different stuff on it to go with it, then it's actually quite nice.
Yeah, I haven't had it in years. I've gone vegan, so I had a pineapple on pizza for about 6 months now. So I'm missing it. It's just pineapple with it would just be with a lot of veg. It's not even. I don't think I've had a pizza. It's sad times. But that's what you do for a cause, I guess. You've got more of a reply. Wycom's references your breakfast at Esports. Could you tell us about this?
Oh yeah. So basically, like if you're at the Projas and like always in esports, we've been at hotels where they've had really nice breakfast. And when I say breakfast, I mean like actual English breakfast where you have bacon, sausage, all that kind of stuff. So for me, every time I get the chance, for me it's full like bacon, egg, sausage, baked beans, all of it. You need to have it. It's great. But yeah, then I see some people, especially like Wycombs or Chris, Cedric, Alec, they're just having like bread and like just toast basically. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? You have all these stuff, all these nice food, and you're just having like cereal, like toast. For me, it's mad, but yeah, nah. For me, yeah, when I have the chance, I always go for it. It's not an everyday breakfast for me, no chance. Then otherwise, I'd end up looking like when I have the chance, I always go for it.
Oh yeah, cool. When it's paid for and it's an all-you-can-eat breakfast, you've got to go all out. You got to go hard or go home. You know, there's no point having a bowl of
I mean,
oatmeal.
yeah, it's not just the money in general. It's like cooking it yourself, so much effort. Like at
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
home, if I was to do it, so much effort. Like the actual washing up takes more of your time than the eating it. So yeah, for me at the hotel where you're not doing any of the washing, you're not cooking any of it. Yeah, 100%.
Brilliant. Got a question from Hayden. He says, "What would you like to see changed for the next season of the Pro Series after taking part in the event? Also, do you find it fair that some drivers like yourself had to go through the draft to be picked, yet others came through other ways?"
So the first question, obviously, yeah, yeah. I don't know how other people think, but I think most of the drivers I know this season's Pro Series, they want 50% races because it just brings out different strategies. You actually
Hmm.
have to manage your tires, your fuel, your airs, everything. And yeah, it just, I think some people might think it makes it boring, but driving wise, it's actually more fun. And I prefer that. Whereas 25% races, if you look at it, 18-minute qualifying, and the races are usually 20, 21 minutes. So your qualifying is as long as your race, and not only that, qualifying pretty much decides your race anyway. So,
Mm.
like, yeah, if I'd rather have races where someone can actually win from like sixth or seventh or even eighth, compared to races where if you qualify top three, then if you don't qualify in the top three, then you're not gonna win, kind of thing. So for me, 25% races just like sprint modes, but
Mm.
yeah, I'd like to see 50% races because I think Abu Dhabi actually went well. So I mean, let's see, I guess. But second question. Actually, one more thing for the first
Yep.
question. I'd like them to actually show the qualifying lap. Like the pole lap I did was like, when I did it, like it actually started raining towards the end of the lap. So it actually brought a whole new like dynamic to it. So
Oh,
like if they
interesting.
actually showed it, would have been nice to see. And every pole lap has been crazy so far. Like Brendon's 29-1 at USA was incredible, but they never showed it either. So yeah, I'd like them to show that. But yeah, second question. I'm not gonna lie. Before the pro, I think actually I wouldn't say it's too unfair because like guys like Enzo and Bono, they deserve to drive, and they qualified for the pro, not to turn up mainly so they guarantee a seat at McLaren. So it just shows that they were always going to get picked. It's just they wanted to guarantee which team to be with. So if you look at it like that, I think it's actually not too bad in a way because can you imagine if because like Brendan was in it as well in the pro
Mm.
drafts minute because obviously he wanted to sign Mercedes. So I think at the end of the day, everyone that would have got picked anyway, and those that didn't get picked were mainly because the teams didn't really realize their talent at the pro drafts or even outside of pro drafts. So yeah, for me, I don't think the format really changed on who got picked.
Okay. Would you want Ferrari to take part as well, or do you think it's fine with the amount of teams you've got now?
Nah, yeah. Even though I think people know I'm not too much of a fan of Ferrari in real life, I'd like them to take part because Ferrari not in Formula One doesn't really feel the same. You need Ferrari in every Formula One event, so yeah, them to take part would be nice. And obviously, I have winning at the moment. Ferrari will be kicking themselves to not be able to be in that same position. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think we'll actually see them next season trying to add the rivalry to esports as well.
Yeah, I hope so. I sometimes feel that Ferrari are so very old school with their methods, and yeah, I do hope that
Yeah,
they join into the party next year because it shows this season was fantastic for F1 esports. It's grown massively from last season, and it'll only get sort of bigger and bigger as time goes on. I mean, we've got another question from Raj or VSR Clone Trooper. He's asking, what advice would you give to somebody who has raced on a pad for a long time and is going to get a wheel? Any tips or tricks?
um, Yeah, obviously try and get a wheel that you can start off with, and not yeah, just try and get a wheel that really you can start off with and use it for a while, because last thing you really want is to keep switching between an old wheel and a new wheel, because you'll just compromise your development. So that would be my first advice. And second advice really is just, once you switch, don't touch your pad ever again. Like, just delete all your times you have on the pad,
Hmm.
and yeah, just start it on a brand new game if you want to. Just once the new game comes out, just start it on that and don't touch the pad, because I know, like myself as well, when I first got the wheel in 2016, even though I've played on the wheel for like 15 years, when I switched, I still had doubt myself that pad is actually quicker for me, but it isn't. It never is. The wheel is always quicker. So you just have to get used to it and forget about the pad, because if you keep switching between two, it's just gonna compromise yourself. And guys like Tyrrell Limitless and Tyrrell Martin also found out recently as well. So yeah, just get your wheel, push, and forget about your pad times. Just get on with it and don't stop until you're pretty much at the top.
There we go. There's some advice for those budding young guys who are going from pad to wheel. So I just want to finish. Well, thank you for all the Twitter questions. There are a couple more, but we haven't got time to get them all in. We might have to do a part two of Beyond the Visor with yourself. But finish with two questions that I always ask every guest. The first one being, if you go back in time, say 5, 10 years, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
Um, it's a tough one. Don't know. Just, I'd say definitely try and finish for the actual deadline. Try and finish it 10 seconds before the deadline. That'll be one. And two, I think just, I don't know. I've always been a happy guy, so
Mm.
I've never really, like, I can't really tell myself to be happier kind of thing. I've always been a happy guy. Positivity always goes within me, but I don't know. I don't know. Just I don't know, man. To be honest, I don't really know. I think just everything in general is how I want it to be, kind of thing, and there's not much I would change. It's just, I think one thing I'd say actually is, when I stopped go karting, I was really, like, broken, of course, like really
Mm.
painful. At the time, it took quite a few years to, like, get over it, but even now, the fire is still within me to try and become Formula One driver. Chances are getting less and less every day, but I'm still hoping I can get a chance one day. So yeah, for me in general, there's not much I would change.
Fantastic. Do you think you'll ever go back to go karting?
Maybe in the future, when I'm, like, old and want to have fun. I've always had this fantasy in my head where I want me, Sonaj, my little brother, my dad, and a few of my good mates to have, like, this mini championship where we can do 10, 15 race championship over the whole year, kind of thing. It's just us, like 10, 15 people, just having a little fun at the weekend.
Yeah, that would be a great idea actually. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Go karting's so expensive. It's difficult, but when you've got, I'm sure when you're designing McLaren or Mercedes F1 car, I'm sure you'll have some time to do some go karting with. That sounds like a great idea to do actually. So the final question I want to ask you before we finish this interview, what do you want to be remembered for?
um, just someone that's really, like, I don't know, someone that I'd like to be respected, respected as, I don't know, a human being, and someone that's quite positive. And yeah, I've always wanted to um, push better, because I know how it is when stuff gets tough. I know how it is within myself, that sometimes you just really, I don't know. For me, I never really look back at myself and say this is what I want to be or this is what I do. But the only thing I'd say is, like, I like to be remembered just like my idol Mika Hakkinen is. Kind guy, hard on track, but respectful off track, and never really have any, let's say, beef with anyone. Let's say,
Mm.
so it's just someone that's respected among the community, and yeah, just someone that yeah. I always tend to like overthink some stuff. So sometimes when I speak to someone or someone speaks to me and something, if they have something they want to say to me, but like they don't. But like, I don't know. Like in general, just as in, if someone like dislikes me, I always tend to wonder why I change that, because I don't feel like I'm someone that really wants bad in anyone, and when someone hates me, it's quite unusual for me. So yeah, just I don't know. In general, just I always want to be me, and if people like me, that's nice. If they don't, then I hope that changes in the future.
There we go. I mean, like I said, be yourself. If people don't like you, they can. That's their problem. Fantastic. Well, thank you ever so much for joining me this evening. It's been a really good insight into your life and everything that goes around you. Thank you for everybody who was watched. If you got any questions about this episode, put it in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow Salih on Twitter and YouTube. It is down in the description. Follow him in the F1 Esports series as well as the future goes forward. He'll be one to keep an eye on as the future goes on. But yeah, if you are new, subscribe below. Follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook is all down in the description. Thank you ever so much for watching once again on Beyond the Visor, and we'll see you very, very soon for a brand new episode. Good night.